Hey sis, if you're over 40 and you feel like your body is suddenly working against you, the belly fat, the weight gain, the exhaustion, you are not alone. You are absolutely in the right place. So, I'm Loretta. I'm a certified health and menopause coach, and I help women over 40 navigate the confusing world on hormones, metabolism, and weight loss so you can feel strong, confident, and energized again without the crazy diets or being in the gym for hours and hours. So, whether you're here live or watching the replay, say hey to me in the chat. Let me know if this is resonating with you in the comments as I keep teaching. All right. So, listen, today I'm breaking down the truth about weight loss after 40. I'll explain exactly why the old stuff, the cardio, the diets, the eating less, isn't working anymore. And more importantly, I'm going to tell you what does work, what actually works. This is the stuff that people sometimes they're not really talking about it, but it's critical. It's really critical. Now, if you want help putting this in action, because I'm going to teach, but if you need help putting this in action, I want you to check the link in the description. You can grab a seat in my free masterclass where I teach this step by step. So let me just start. I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna talk real talk because I was exactly where you were. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure in terms of like even where to start. So I was doing what worked before, right? So I was doing all the cardio. It's all that I knew. And so that's what I did. So really a lot of times that's what we're taught. It's like if you want to lose weight, then you gotta do more cardio, you gotta run, bike, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You do the hit classes. I was a member of, that kind of the boutique hit class, and I was there 5 o'clock in the morning. I was doing it fasted, like, I would fast and went, it's like 16 hours ago was when I ate and I come work out, all the things. I was doing all the things. And then I was trying to do the quick fix diets, right? So, everything, the low carb, the low fat, the low calorie, just trying to make the scale move, just trying to see a difference. And listen, I even did, you only eat that special soup. And then it was like, okay, no, you only drink shakes. Listen, sis, I've done it. I've done it all. And it's because, you know why? We're conditioned to believe that everything should happen so quickly, right? That's the society we live in. And then if it doesn't happen, then we're like, oh, we must be doing something wrong. So this is what I found out. And this is after research. Like, the weight wasn't coming off. All the things that I was doing, the weight wasn't coming off. My belly was growing, looking like I was pregnant, right? You know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, put that in the comments. I'm not the only one. My energy, it was gone. And it was like what used to work for me. That's what was frustrating because the stuff that I was doing used to work, but it wasn't working for me. So I had to like research this thing out because honestly, no one really was talking about it. And I saw a strength training. Now, I did a little bit here and there, but my whole concept was the cardio. Like I have to be doing this, I have to be running, I have to be doing all the things. So I wasn't really focusing on the strength training. And when I say strength training, I'm not talking about the heavy weights. You may progress to that, but I'm talking about body weight exercises, right? And so, like the squats, the push ups on the wall, simple stuff, not kind of things you don't even need equipment for, right? So, slowly, that's the kick. We can't give up. We got to keep going. We need to stay consistent, and slowly, that's when things start to shift, right? So my energy started coming back, the scale started moving, my clothes fit differently. And let me just say this. Sometimes we do concentrate too much to the number on the scale. It really needs to be about how are we feeling, how our clothes are feeling, because sometimes the scale doesn't move as quickly as we think it should. And it really gets into making sure we are as healthy as possible. That really should be our goal. But listen, it wasn't just the workouts that would like that magic pill, so to speak, because there really isn't magic pill. But it wasn't the workouts, it was more than that. It was learning that my hormones, specifically estrogen, was running the show. Like what am I talking about? I'm gonna start. I gotta hit you with the first truth. This is the first thing I really learned, and I did not know this. And if you didn't know this, I need you to put that in the comments. I didn't know that my hormones were just driving the bus, so to speak, not just calories. Now, when I say this, I had someone in one of my videos put in the comments, it's all you have to do if you want to lose weight. All you need to do is just eat less calories and exercise more. That's what he put in my comments. Okay, and I'm here to say, not so. It's more than just the calories. It's more than just saying, okay, let me just exercise more. Our hormones run the show. A lot of times we think of estrogen as just about reproduction, right? But honestly, it controls in women almost every system in our body. All right. Estrogen impacts where fat is stored, especially when it drops in perimenopause and menopause. That fat shifts to the belly. It affects blood sugar regulation, our cholesterol levels, inflammation, bone health, mood, metabolism, the whole thing. It really is that like hormone that controls so many systems in our bodies. And we have to understand that so that we can make the right moves and the right adjustments as our estrogen declines, right? So as our estrogen declines, insulin resistance increases, which means your body struggles more to process carbs and sugar. So that is leading to weight gain, even if you're eating the same thing you were eating before, right? So I say it's so very important to watch your health markers. What do I mean by that? When you go and you go for your annual physical, I'm saying you take the initiative to make sure you're watching it. Look at your glucose, look at your cholesterol, look at your blood sugar, and don't just wait until the doctor tells you, oh, now it's too high. If you start seeing, even if it's regular, it's a normal, but you start seeing certain things increase over time, that's the time to really make adjustments, sis. So it's not just about weight loss. We focus a lot on that, but it's protecting your long-term health. Trust me in this. Estrogen, as it drops, women, when we hit the menopause phases in different stages, is really now about protecting our long-term health. All right. So now let me give you some solutions. I want you to focus on stabilizing your blood sugar. How do you do that? That's going to be your balanced meals. And in terms of balance, I'm talking about with balancing with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. I need you to manage your stresses because cortisol, that's our stress hormone, that's paired with low estrogen. And so as that cortisol starts increasing, that's the recipe for belly fat and fatigue. Okay. So we really want to make sure we're doing and let me give you an example. As I mentioned, balanced meal, protein, fiber, and healthy fats. What I had for breakfast, I had eggs, chicken sausage, and let me just say this: it was minimally processed chicken sausage, basically chicken and seasonings. That's it. Okay. And then I had avocado. I had avocado with that. And so now, if I even wanted to do even better with my breakfast, I could have had an omelet, like a spinach omelet, so that I would have also had some more fiber with the vegetable. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about having a balanced meal. All right. So now I'm going to get to the second truth. And you need to hear me on this. And listen, if you haven't yet, I need you to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your other friends that are dealing with the same thing, because we're not doing this alone. I'm not saying anything that's unique to just me, right? So research shows that as we age, muscle mass declines 3 to 8% per decade after 30, and then it accelerates after 50. So, truth number two, cardio alone fails women over 40. Okay, I'm that's we can't just sit there and focus just on cardio anymore. Less muscle equals slower metabolism. So now think about this. This is the mistake I made, right? This is what I did. I thought cardio was enough because that's what I was used to doing. So it's like you just in my mind, I felt like, okay, if I'm just, running on the treadmill or whatever, that was the thing. So yeah, like in the hit boutique class I was going to, they did have a strength component, but I kind of did that half. I made sure I got there in time so I can get my favorite treadmill, and that's what I did first. I did the treadmill, then I went from the treadmill to the rower, and then from there they had the little strength part. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm half doing that because that's not my focus. I was all in for the treadmill piece, right? So, and some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all even know where I was going. But the thing was, that's the mistake I was making. I thought cardio was enough. But cardio, yes, it burns calories temporarily. And yes, that particular where I'm talking about, they said if you get in a certain zone, it will continue to burn. But let me tell you what does it. Muscle burns calories, okay? So it's not that I needed to do more cardio at this age. I needed more muscle. So cardio has its benefits. I'm not saying cut it out. I'm not saying that at all because it helps your heart health, your mental health, but it really, it doesn't fix that metabolic slowdown caused by muscle loss. That's what's key here. So what am I saying? What do you do instead? What's the solution, Loretta? That's what you're asking me. What's the solution, Loretta? Start simple. I need you to do body weight squats, wall push-ups. Maybe get some resistant bands. I love them because you can travel with them as well, and they're fairly easy to use. And then I need you to go ahead and subscribe because this is a question I've been hearing, like, okay, so but you're telling me to do these things. I'm not really familiar with doing them. So I'm going to start posting some simple exercises here on this channel so that, you can see me in action doing these. So go ahead and subscribe so you get the notification when I post a new video. And I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 times per week of strength training. Even if it's short sessions, the mistake we make is we feel like we have to do it for such a long time for it to have any benefit. So we got to do it for 30, 40, 50. No, do what you can do. Let's start where you are, and then we can increase. We can increase as time progresses, right, sis? So even the short sessions, you can benefit from that. So again, now I've been talking about food. I've been talking about exercise. Always if you're making a change, check with your doctor. That's a good rule of thumb. Now I'm gonna get to the third truth. All right. Diet culture breaks women over 40. You're like, Loretta, what do you mean by that? We're not broken. No, we're not broken. But what I said was diet culture. That's what's breaking us. Okay. So everything we hear, we gotta cut the calories, cut the carbs, and do all these things. But that's actually can turn around and hurt us and hurt our bodies. Okay. So calorie restriction raises cortisol, lowers metabolism, and leads to rebound weight gain. So you ever have the situation where you're doing it, and then you see a few calories drop, and you're like, yeah, I did this. But then you see it come right back. Now, it's not always just because, I just start eating different again. You have to look at what's happening. If your body thinks that, okay, I'm not getting enough calories, that's going to raise your cortisol. And cortisol is going to hold on to that fat. I mean, that's what it triggers. It triggers your body to hold on to that fat. So this is what I'm saying. We can actually be doing or working against the goal that we actually have. And so that's why it's so important to understand our hormones, and understanding them, then we can move in the right direction. Okay. So the next thing, cutting carbs. If you cut carbs too low, you can wreck your sleep, your energy, your hormonal balance. Nah, the thing is, we don't necessarily want to cut the carbs. We want to really get to a point of understanding complex carbs and how that can be beneficial for our bodies, and have that in our diet. Okay. So, yeah, the high sugar snacks and all that, that's really isn't going to be good for us. But you need to understand the difference between that and complex carbs. And that will, you once you understand, then you can, pick your meal accordingly. Our bodies over 40, we need nourishment, not starvation. So for me, I had to unlearn everything I knew about dieting. Okay. So we all hear the 1,200 calorie diets, fasting, and doing the fasting to the point of detriment. Okay. So I'm a big proponent of having breakfast. And I know that's a meal that a lot of people skip in fasting. All right. I'm gonna say this: if it's working for you, then you're probably not watching this video. Okay. So what I'm saying, if you're finding that things aren't working for you by doing the things that you were doing before, these are the things to kind of take a look at. And then as you make the different changes, then you can keep a record, keep a journal, keep and say, you know what, this is happening when I do this, and then you can adjust accordingly. Okay. So I realized I had to unlearn everything that I was doing that worked before. I had to unlearn it because it was working against me. So what did I do? I had to, what's this again, you're saying, Loretta, all right, so what's the solution? I had to prioritize protein. I aim for 30 grams for a protein per meal, minimum. Okay. I told you my breakfast, I aim for that minimum. And that, especially, like I said, and I love to start my breakfast strong. So the other thing, I alluded to it before, eat complex carbs. What does that look like? You get complex carbs in veggies, beans, whole grains, and that helps with fiber and our gut health. And I need to teach just on gut health alone, and that it really is it once you get that on track, that really helps with a lot of other symptoms. And hormone balance. And when I say hormone balance, a lot of people like to come at me about that word. I understand our hormones are shifting. What I'm talking about, though, is what we can control. What can we control? We can control our cortisol levels. Excuse me. That's what we can control. So, and I'm a big proponent, control what you can control. Because what we don't want to get into the situation of, like I said, all the quick fixes and stuff like that. And then we're going to try this, we're going to try. There's room for different supplements, there's room for different things. And I'm not teaching against that. But what I really focus on is what I can control. And the health of my body that's what I work to make sure I do the best that I can do in that area. So let me get back. Prioritize protein. Eat complex carbs. Next one, healthy fats. You heard with my breakfast, I had an avocado. That is why. My eggs, I cooked them. They were scrambled. I cooked them in olive oil. And so what that does is that helps us with our hormones. That helps us with just our general health, right? And I'm going to say to you, sis, stop under eating. Fuel your body to heal your metabolism. And because we can sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to eat less, I'm going to eat less. And then we can mess our whole metabolism up. So what I'm saying, just focus on, and I talked about it, the balanced plate. And I told you what my breakfast was. So, as an example of a balanced plate. So, listen, the real secret nobody talks about, this is just a bonus for you, is consistency over intensity. Like I said, I will go and I make sure I get my favorite treadmill so I can get in there and I'm running and I will hit those spurts and crank up the speed and do all the things. But what I find in this season of my life is really consistency over intensity. So if I sit there and say, you know what, I'm gonna walk 10 minutes after a meal. I may not be able to do it every meal, but maybe I say after 2 meals, I'm gonna make sure I get and I'm gonna walk for 10 minutes. You don't have to be perfect. And like I said, you don't have to do hours and hours at the gym because that sometimes is a deterrent. We realize that our schedules are so busy that we're unable to do that. So that's why I say start where you are and then build up, right? So it's the small, simple, repeatable actions that transfer our health. And let me give you some examples of them. Walking, I already talked about it because I'm a big proponent of walking, especially because we can, like, even if like example, if you go to a job and let's say y'all have a parking garage, you can decide, you know what, I'm gonna park the furthest away so that I can walk. I can get some walking in. And so that is something that is key for you. And that maybe it gets you 10 minutes of walking and then 10 minutes of walking when you go back. So these are the things that are important, that are key, that helps with strength training 2 to 3 times a week. And so again, you can do simple. I'm right now. I had some things going on with my shoulder, so I've been focused more on the lower body, core, and so you're able to mix it up, and that is what helps. You don't stop; you just mix it up. Hydration. I've been talking a while, but my water is right here. I just didn't want to drink in front of y'all. As soon as I'm finished, I'm going to be sipping. That is key. We really need to make sure we stay hydrated and we are drinking our water. So, these are just some simple, repeatable actions that will help transfer your health. Sleep, that's something else. We, as busy people, busy women, a lot of times we don't prioritize our sleep. Now, I understand that, and I had this problem. I had the issue where I was waking up at 3 o'clock every morning. I was experiencing that. And I know a lot of you are as well. Now, I did have to make some shifts. And so that now I sleep. I sleep through the night. I don't do that every morning or 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to do that. It was, oh, that will mess up, again, it'll mess up your cortisol levels. It will really send you in not a great direction. So I had to work again, learn our bodies and make the necessary changes so that I didn't have that issue. Because again, sleep is where our body, it gives our bodies a chance to reset, right? So it's so important. And the last tip I'm going to give you is stress management. Sis, learn to say no. Sometimes that is something that will help us to, lower the stress in our lives. I'm a big proponent. I'm in an area where people drive crazy. And so instead of me, what are they doing? I sometimes I just look right behind the wheel because it's like, I don't want them to get me all riled up, right? And so because it can affect my health. And so that's why I'm a big, like I said, I talk about stress management. So just so I just want to repeat them. These are small, simple, repeatable actions that can transform your health. Walking, strength training 2 to 3 times a week, hydration, making sure you're getting your water, sleep, making sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, stress management. And listen, sis, I'm talking about this in the masterclass. It's just so important to focus on these areas to, like I said, help your just help to transform your health, help to get it on the right track. So, and what I'm telling you is not something that's, oh, it's just research. No, that's exactly how I stay healthy at 50. If you, at this point of this time of this video, healthy at 56 years old, normal glucose, normal blood pressure, no medications, and I feel strong. I mean, I feel, honestly, I feel good. I mean, I can't think of, like, okay, some people, oh, I feel like I'm 40. I don't know all that. I could just tell you I feel good. I'm energetic. I'm ready to go. So that is what I do. This is what I teach other women. This is what I teach when I'm working with women one on one. And this is also what I teach in our inner circle community, just knowing how to keep ourselves healthy, how to learn to work with our hormones and not against them, and to do it without restrictive diets. We're not calorie counting and we're not doing exhausting workouts. Three things I want you to remember. Three things. One, hormones run the show after 40. Like I said to you, estrogen shifts our fat storage. It affects our metabolism and our blood sugar. Number two, cardio is not enough. Muscle, that's what we need to start making sure, because we're losing it naturally. So we need to start building that muscle. Listen, dieting fails us as women over 40. We need to be nourished. We need to make sure we're fueling our body, and we need to build habits that support our hormones, even as they're shifting. So that's why I created the Hormone Reset Masterclass, to teach this step by step. So you don't have to guess. You don't have to, because that's what I was doing. I was guessing until I did the research and started learning how to make the right shifts. So, sis, if this resonates with you, I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on that bell, get the notifications for more videos like this. I want you to check the links in the description, sign up for my masterclass. There's limited spots for that. And if this helped you, send it to a friend. Don't hold all the information just for you. Send it to a friend, because too many women are suffering in silence, thinking it's just them, or they're sitting there on Facebook and all these different things, trying to try every supplement. And first, let's start to control what we can control, right? So I share it with a friend. Let her know also what's going on in her body as a woman over 40. This is a journey of being a woman over 40, and you don't have to do it alone. So I'm going to see you in the masterclass or in the next video. And at the same time, I want you to make sure you keep showing up for you. So it's bye for now.